I will be presenting my research article on Internet self-efficacy does not predict student use of Internet-mediated educational technology. This article is by Tom Buchanan, Sanjay Jobin, and Alan Porter. The journal was Research in Learning Technology, Volume 22, 2014. Presented by Beth Cox. There is an increased enthusiasm for technology-enhanced learning through online activities on college campuses. There is considerable interest in more interactive technologies such as blogs, wikis, and social media. The technological tools described as Web 2.0 technologies can be very important when using online and distant learning courses. It is very common to see traditional in-person contact-based courses supported by virtual learning environments such as Blackboard or Moodle. Two assumptions can be made for the push to use electronic resources to support learning. One, technology does in fact support learning, and two, the students will actually use these electronic tools. For the purpose of this article, it is important to understand the differential use of information technology. Technology Acceptance Model, TAM, seek to explain user adoption of technology and its perceived ease of use. Psychological variables influence the extent to which people use technology. While some students have embraced the new technology, others have not. Many people benefit from the internet, however, they do not utilize it very often, if in fact at all, after the initial attempt. So what is Internet self-efficacy, ISE? The belief in one's own ability to complete a task. The more confidence, the more likely one will be to attempt the task. In the TAM formula, the key components are perceived ease of use and perceived usefulness. ISE and learning technologies. It is possible that students with higher levels of ISE would perceive VLE and other online tools as easier to use. Those students with low levels of ISE are reluctant to use e-learning. There are indicators that constructs related to ISE have an influence on attitudes and influence attitudes toward e-learning. Appropriate training can improve one's attitude toward understanding e-learning. The goal of this research article was to investigate the relationship of ISE and the use of educational technology. ISE is building on research that demonstrates a correlation between ISE and behavioral intentions by looking at actual behavior. The hypothesis is that ISE would have a direct association with the use of various components of VLE use on college campuses. Two studies were given to students to measure ISE and the use of educational online activity. Study 1 examined a correlation of the use of learning technologies among first-year undergraduate student lab class for a basic IT skills psychology class. Students were introduced to many forms of educational technologies through VLE like Blackboard and other forms used by the college. Students were required to keep a personal blog about their experiences throughout the course. The students also worked in groups to create a PowerPoint presentation using Wiki that was set up ahead of time specifically for the purpose of the PowerPoint presentation for the group of students. Study number 2 was again conducted using the same basic IT skills psychology class. Study number 2 was given a year later, but using a different sample of cohort of students. For Study 1, data was collected at the end of the semester after all activities were completed by the students. Participants were given credit toward the Department of Research participation scheme. Study 2 questionnaires were given at the beginning and end of the course. The same activities for Study 1 was given during the second study. Student use was objectively recorded by examining the VLE log files. Both studies used first-year psychology students who had registered for IT skills course. The course was mandatory for all students, so there was a mix of students with high and low levels of proficiency of prior IT experience. The participants of Study 1 were 86 students, 73 women, 11 men, and 2 did not give their gender. Age range was from 18 to 47 with a mean age of 21.8. 78 students had access to internet outside of the university. 54 students gave permission for researchers to look at the VLE activity. 54 students also gave permission to look at their grades to use for analysis. Study 2 participants in the first phase were 137 students. 116 were women, 21 were men. The age range was from 17 to 60 with the mean age of 21.12 years. The majority of the students had internet services available outside of the college. 98 students gave permission to look at their VLE activity. In the second phase, 104 students were participating, 83 women and 18 men. Age range was from 18 to 58 with a median age of 20.87 years. .96 had internet access outside the college. 78 students completed the questionnaires. In both studies, ISE was measured using an 8-item scale where respondents are asked to indicate on 7-point scales from strongly disagree to strongly agree to the extent they feel confident performing various internet-related activities. 6-item questionnaire addressed attitudes to blogs. How useful did you find the wiki as part of your studies on this module? Number 2, how much do you think you engaged with the wiki in terms of how much you used it? Number 3, how much did you like using the wiki as part of your studies on this module? Number 4, do you think you would have used the wiki if it had been available to you, but not compulsory to use? Number 5, would you like to use wiki again in the future as part of your studies? And number 6, would you like to use wikis again in the future as part of your life outside of the university? The VLE use was measured by noting the number of entries each student had made on their blog and edits they had made to their group wiki work. The results from Study 1, the only significant correlation is that ISE and weekly hours spent online. Basically, people who spent more time online had a higher ISE score. There were no significant associations between ISE and attitudes to wikis, blogs, or the extent to which these technologies were used, nor were there any significant relationship with any of the students' assessment grades. The results for Study 2 showed, with the data that was provided at the beginning and the end of the course, the repeated measures indicate a significant increase in ISE, which proves that more training in internet skills will increase ISE. No significant changes in ISE and behavior or attitudes other than online activities, but not really linked to educational technology. There were positive attitudes toward wikis as measured by wiki edits. Discussion boards also showed an increase in ISE as measured by the number of times students accessed the discussion board. In the discussion section, there is no finding that suggests ISE is an important influence in the use of online educational technology, but personal online activity may be influenced by ISE. Attitudes toward educational technology can improve by increasing more online activity, which was demonstrated with the use of the wikis and discussion boards. This research also indicated no significant increase in ISE even with digital training skills.